on the ATL Underground. You are now tuned in to Real Talk with Ed, Dee, and Loki.
Atlanta, what's happening? ATL, what it is. We want to run up your spine and dive off deep into your mind. You got Ed D here with my man, Mr. Loki. It's the official kickoff, the official launch of ATL Underground. We're going to talk about our city, talk about our neighborhood, talk about our country, talk about the world. Loki, on the official launch. Tell them
What's
what we got
up,
for
my
today.
people?
All
right, so listen up. Well, first and foremost, welcome everybody. This is the first official live launch of the ATL Underground, where we're going to come to you about the things that are going on in our community. We're going to talk to you about current events. We're going to talk to you about those questions. We're going to try to help you with those answers. We got those live call-ins. We're going to be supporting our community. We're going to be supporting businesses. We're going to be doing all that we can right about now as an underground grassroots organization. And to kick it off, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to give a shout-out to Saucy Spot. Saucy Spot is a food truck that's actually located right now at the Noonan Walmart. They got some very good food. So Saucy Spot, we want to give you a shout out. If you want to check out Saucy Spot,
What's happening?
you can go to their Facebook, Saucy Spot. You can go to their Instagram and look at Saucy Spot and find out about that delicious food for Saucy Spot Food Truck. And right now they're at the Walmart in Noonan, Georgia, selling that great food, them great plates. I had some myself, and it was on that hit. It had my stomach going, ooh-wee. So check out Saucy Spot and the Saucy Spot team. Also, we're going to talk about some things, and we're going to give some reverence to a lot of things that goes on in this community, which includes representing and showing respect to our underground artists out there, our independent underground artists, all those young people, all those older people, all those people, period, who trying to make it in the music world. We're going to highlight their music. We also going to be out here highlighting these minority-owned businesses because we want you to support our people out here. And our people just don't mean African-Americans. Our people mean those and anybody with a little tint and complexion to their skin. That's who we going to support.
If you got melanin, we down with you.
We're going to support these businesses out here. We're going to support our people because we're going to get to a point where we're going to rise to the occasion and show everybody, the others, that we can truly put support and the money and the dollar behind our own.
Real quick, just want to let you know, if you want to join the show today with us, go to hit us up at 404-721-4552. If you want to join the show today and chime in on some of our topics, just want to say hello, let us know how you feel, what you're thinking about today. If you just got a question, hit us up at 404-721-4552. And also, to you underground or you're trying to get out there artists today, send your music, send what you do, send your talent. You singing, you rhyming, sing it to ATL Underground MSE at gmail.com. Once again, those underground artists out there, if you singing, if you rapping, as far as I'm concerned, if you painting pictures or do whatever you do, underground, you trying to get it big, we're going to do our best to showcase you here on ATL Underground. Send us what you do at ATL Underground MSE at gmail.com. Real quick, since this is our first official kickoff show, you want to let them say hey to the doctors in the house today?
Well, I would like to introduce to some and present to others our resident PhD, Dr. Funkenstein.
Dr. Funkenstein, say what's happening, man. What's happening?
Peace and blessings to all my beautiful melanated people out there.
And then we want to give a shout out to our resident DJ, DJ Dee Loki.
On the ones and twos, baby. Tell them what's happening.
Yo, what's good with y'all, man? Dee Loki, the Beat Ninja, checking in here with the ATL Underground Radio Show.
Hey,
all right.
Check this out. Hey, let it be known now. DJ Dee Loki got some bars for you. Don't get it twisted. He got 16 for you. He may have 32 for you. Matter of fact, he might have 64 for you.
But not only can he spit it, he can write it, he can produce it
all day long,
and he can play it.
All day long.
That's called great. That's an artist.
The brother has been blessed with perfect pitch. I'm telling you, he's on it.
Yes.
He got it for you.
So, with that being the case, we're gonna get this thing started off and kicked off. But this is the first thing I gotta say, man. Did our dear president, Captain Cheeto, really say he was gonna move the election? Like, did he really say he was gonna reschedule the election. Like, I understand you doing kind of bad in the popular polls, the opinion polls, the business polls, the people polls. I understand you doing bad, but bruh, did you really say, hey man, you know what? We might go ahead and just postpone the election.
Listen,
Nobody wants you.
your boy tried it. He dang so put that out there into the world to plant that seed that we're going to delay the election so that, well, we know what it's for. He's going to try to capitalize and try to get himself as much support as possible. But I think the man has screwed up enough and pissed off enough people to this point that he is very unelectable.
But I'm
That's
still
why we gotta
confused.
get out there and vote. He tried.
Like, you the president and don't know you have to have authorization from Congress to do
Once again, that's why I've always said he had no business being the ding-dang president
You
anyway.
said the coronavirus was a hoax and then start wearing a mask. And then said you look like the Lone Ranger.
Yeah.
But the crazy part, you didn't realize the Lone Ranger was black. Like, what are you doing?
Tell him about it.
Like, I mean, like for real, like this is the common thing that comes along with misnomers. I mean, we were having a conversation not too long ago during a situation about Uncle Nearest. His real name is Nathan Green, but he was known as Uncle Nearest. They call him the master distiller. He is the one that actually did everything to help Mr. Jack Daniels get started in the whiskey business. Yes, Uncle Nearest was a slave, and to this day, his family actually still works for Jack Daniels. But now he has his own brand out. So yeah, when you drinking that old number 7, do understand that man was taught by Nathan Green, also known as Uncle Nearest.
I'll take some of that Jack Honey myself.
I mean, hey, but that's the crazy thing, how so many misnomers happen. Like, we just don't realize so much that's out there.
That
like,
we created.
Like, you don't realize that when you drive and you got to stop and get that ticket because you went through that yellow light that you thought was red.
A black
Or
man.
that red light that you thought was yellow.
A black man invented that traffic
Garrett
light.
Morgan.
Yeah.
Like, when you go outside to water your lawn and sprinkler system going on.
A black person.
Elijah McCoy.
Yes.
Like, it's just so much that we don't realize to this day. And then the president goes and says that the coronavirus was a hoax, then start wearing the mask, after half his Secret Service, 3/4 of the Secret Service got the coronavirus.
Corona, yeah.
And called it a hoax, and then said he looked like the Lone Ranger, and did not realize he was a black man.
Exactly.
Like, oh wait, and then he comes out and says that black African Americans need to learn their history, or we gonna go back to it. Like,
yeah, no, that I'm not gonna lie, that pissed me off. I don't know what his
But he
PR
said
people
it.
or his handlers, but somebody to be like, Donald, don't ever say it again in your life. You have no platform, no standing, no. You don't say that, Donald. You keep your little orange lips together on that tip.
But he said it.
Yeah, he did.
But we also need to go ahead and bow our head and have a moment of silence for a man that lost his life. A lot of people might have had about him, but he was still an African-American brother. He was also alumnus of Morehouse College, and that's Mr. Herman Cain. Mr. Herman Cain,
rest in peace, brother.
Who was the founder of Godfather's Pizza right here in Atlanta and became very wealthy off of it. He actually was running as a Republican nominee for the presidential election and was winning until a little scandal came out. He had to back off. Because, we had to have a perfect record to run.
Manufacturer scandal, by the way.
He lost his life. So we just want to give a slight moment of silence for Mr. Herman Cain.
All right, I'm gonna hit on that real quick because we got a lot we got to cover today. I didn't agree with a lot of his politics, but he is an alumni of Morehouse College, so we'll give him that. And he's also an Atlanta native. He went to Carver High School. But I have to ask the question. I don't know if any of you follow me on my Facebook page, but I have to ask you a question because it troubles me, and it kind of shows you the depth of the Republican Party or lack thereof. Now, this is your man, 40 grand. And talking about Herman Cain and President Trump. This is your man, 40 grand. This man sings your praises and says your name to no end. Defends everything you do on any media platform via any means he can. He says your name. Let's put this together. Anytime. We also had a little, I guess, conference or whatever that was. Those doctors did, and the one lady, the one black doctor got on female with the accent, and she says that there's a cure, there's a treatment for COVID-19. Nobody has to die. She said it about 3 or 4 times. Said it with all kinds of zest and zeal. And what my question is, if that's the case, then President Trump said himself, matter of fact, he told on himself and said, I tried it. Hydroxychloroquine, the zinc, and the zeromyethrin or something like that. I'm not saying it right, but you know what I'm saying. And he said, I took it, it didn't do anything to me. Well, with those things, by virtue of those things, why is the man not with us anymore? You mean to tell me that if that lady can get out on a public forum and say there's a cure, nobody needs to die, and then Trump said, I tried it, it didn't do it to me, why is your boy not here? You didn't want to go help your mans out?
Okay, so scientifically, hydroxychloroquine and chloroquine don't necessarily work well with us.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, a lot of people of the other persuasion take it for malaria and things of that nature. Because,
so it doesn't like our DNA.
Like, and that's a little bit different because you got to think about it. Most of us have the sickle cell trait, so we're not as susceptible to malaria as the others. So with that being the case, I wouldn't, that was the whole thing about drinking bleach, and people trying to drink bleach to cure themselves.
But you see what I'm saying, though?
I mean,
if this your home, that's your homeboy. Like right now, if I had a cure.
But was it really his homeboy?
There we go. Now that's what I'm talking about. Like you my frat brother, you my LB. Please understand, if I had a cure for something that you had, there's no way in the world you wouldn't have it as soon as I found out about it. You'd be like, hey, take this over to my peoples and get him straight.
Especially
so you mean to tell me nobody went to Herman Cain and was like, hey, bro, we got you.
Especially if I got it at your rally.
How about that? This man pretty much
allegedly. We say allegedly because we don't know for sure.
But look at it. This man pretty much
kind of suspect.
This man gave his life seemingly for you and your cause for re-election, which is so important to you right now. So important that you really haven't done much on the issues of this country because all you worry about is getting elected, by the way. And he died for that cause. And you mean to tell me you couldn't send in some reinforcements as president? Now, if anybody got resources in this country, if anybody has some favors to cash in this country, if anybody should be able to snap their fingers and make something happen in this country, it's a doggone president of the United States. You mean to tell me you couldn't send nothing your homeboy's way to get him straight?
You mean the same president that withdrew from the World Health Organization?
How about that, by the way?
Because, truth be told, if there is one out there for the world,
we won't get it. We're not in the organization anymore.
It's kind of like...
We're not down no more.
It's like, you got it. Y'all done elected Captain Cheeto. You got it. You're going to lead y'all to victory in this war. And, a great man said that, the issue right now with the country is we're trying to fight 2 wars at the same time on the same front instead of dealing with one war first and then handling the war of life second.
Exactly.
But we're trying to fight both of them. We're spreading ourselves things we're not thinking and we're not doing well at either one of them. But that is so prevalent because right now rich billionaires are worried about their bottom dollar and trying to push the economy to go forth. But you haven't dealt with the first problem yet, and that's COVID-19.
Because right now, COVID is killing all the people that drives your dollar because they can't go to work.
Not even that. You also you're pushing for schools to open. So this is my issue with schools opening the whole thing. If you open schools, you then open up the fight for sports to occur. And as you have already seen, at last count, almost 700 Georgia athletes have gotten COVID-19 due to their participation. So what is your real reason for trying to push these sports? And the other thing that kills me is when a parent goes, I want my kid to stay home and work on their school remotely, but I'm going to send them to the football field. Like, that's just retarded. So you saying that your child can't sit social distance in the classroom and learn, and he got to work at home, but you're going to send him out to the football field for a full contact sport with about 60 other kids. Sweating and everything else, spitting and everything else on the football field. Like, what are we thinking about?
Money.
I understand that certain schools make a lot of money from high school sports. Certain. But the vast majority don't. They make a little bit of money.
They're going to mess around and kill a whole school.
Because
For no
I
reason.
mean, you got teachers right now that are getting sick. The kids that was at the YMCA summer camp were all 60% of their children
Yeah.
contracted COVID.
Yeah.
Was over 300 children.
Yeah.
Sick. Man, look, this thing is
Crazy.
real.
It is real.
Like, it's serious and it's real. And people are playing with it. You got people right now arguing about walking into a store with a mask on. Like, I literally saw a thing where a lady brought out a letter from the ADA to say that it's against her rights for her to have to wear a mask. The ADA is the American Disabilities Act. So, or association. So they protect those with disabilities so they won't get discriminated against. So you're telling me that you so caught up in this, and because it ain't been us, it's been the others.
Yeah.
You want to walk in with a letter that I know you didn't get from them.
Right.
They say that you can't wear a mask to protect yourself and other people from contracting a pandemic right now because you want to be on your high horse. Not realizing that's cool, but every retail establishment has the right of refusal.
See, that's right.
People keep forgetting that in the 60s, when it said whites only, they can refuse your service. And wasn't nothing you could do about it.
Yep.
So those same stores, which is your Kroger's, your Walmart, your Sam's, your Target, your Lowe's, your Home Depot.
Real quick, Walmart, you need some better security at your stores because I got a plan for you. I'll be your consultant for a nominal fee. I promise you, people will wear masks at all your stores. Just holler at me, Walmart. I got you.
But there's more.
I wish
then
some bitch would.
You
yell
got
at
a
me about wearing a
situation
mask.
now where some of these stores are thinking about retracting that because they fear for their employees. Because people walking in trying to argue and fight with their employees from a mandate.
Yeah, see, don't let the employees handle it. That's why you bring in outside people like myself. I consult Walmart. I promise you, I got your program. Just give me a holler. You know,
Now,
nominal fee. I got you, Walmart.
This is the issue with that, though. See, we might adhere to that. But some of the others, they will argue with the police. They tell the police in a minute, I have my rights. You can't tell me what to do. You can't arrest me.
Seriously, people, though, it's a real thing out there. We need to mask up. We need to, protect each other as much as possible. We need to get our country open, but we need to do it sensibly and safely. At my job currently right now, I work in a big store, and when I have to work the door of that store, I have my mask on. When I'm behind the counter, not so much because we have the 6-foot+ barriers, and people are not in my face. But I mean, this is a real thing, and people are dying from it. And we're hurting ourselves. We're hurting our economy, which we want to get back to so bad by politicizing it, and we're hurting our country by not being responsible adults and Americans by respecting this thing and doing what we got to do.
So, I mean, I'm a bump for educators right now. I'm a bump for the educators. And this one, I'm a bump for the educators. Because some things don't make sense. So, you have right now where you have a lot of the certain, district board of education where they sit there making these decisions about teachers going back to school in the classroom, all that kind of stuff. But this is the funny part to me. You're making a decision for an educator to walk into a building virtually. You're literally sitting online having a meeting about to send somebody else into a situation. So you're saying do as I say, not as I do.
Of course.
I'm like, are you out your mind? And now, I do understand the dynamics of education because you do want kids to still get that instruction and learn because we got some people out there that just, they struggling. They struggling as far as education is concerned and knowledge. So I do understand, but you don't put their life in danger for that.
True.
So, I mean, it's so much going on, like with them saying about politicizing sports. And I had to sit back as I'm listening to people argue about politicizing sports, but yet the whole dynamic of standing for the national anthem, which, by the way, in the 1980s, the national anthem wasn't played in most sports venues. They didn't play the national anthem.
Yeah.
That didn't happen until the United States military started donating to certain major sports in order for that to happen. So, I mean, people got to really, because he said, look at our history, right?
Yep.
Well, let's really look at our history. And before the United States military the Air Force, the Navy, the Marines started donating to these major sports for the national anthem to be played and for the jets and stuff to fly over as this honor. You didn't have people do that. Matter of fact, the teams were in the locker room sometimes before when they started playing. They didn't have to be out on the field.
Yep.
And now all of a sudden it's a mandated and I'm a horrible person because I don't stand. Well, let me say this then. If that is the case, and you believe it's such a patriot act to stand, cool, got you. So what I want you to do now is, for the other part of the country, play the Negro National Anthem and make sure everybody stand. Play Lift Every Voice and Sing and say that it's patriotism to stand for it. At every game, not just one game, not just a special game, every game. When you play the national anthem, play Lift Every Voice and Sing.
You know that's not gonna happen.
You know what's gonna happen though?
Not gonna happen.
You know what's not gonna happen? Because now you're politicizing something. Black Lives Matter is now politicizing something.
You're politicizing it again.
And I'm like, it's crazy because they're saying it's political, but it ain't just Democrats doing this push. Major corporations, who I'm pretty sure are Republicans, owned by Republicans, are doing this push as well. Because we are in a time period right now that people are starting to see for real. And you know what? Maybe that's not right. Maybe killing an unarmed black man, black woman, Latino, Asian, it's not right.
How about that?
You know what? We have a lot of mixed children out here. Guess what? If that's a mixed child, that means mom may be black or dad may be black, or mom may be white or dad may be white, or Hispanic or Asian. That's a mixed child. So now one of yours is being killed.
Well, see, we're definitely at a crossroads right now because people have gotten away with too much, and it's coming to a head. If you're a cop and you're mad at the way things are right now, you have nobody else to be mad at but your brothers behind the shield, who for years have gotten away with profiling and just randomly picking on minorities and getting away with it for years, for decades, and it's gone too far. We've had enough. Not that it's right, it's definitely wrong, but we're tearing up cities now. Now you listening. Now by all means, that is not how things should be done. That's not the proper way to get your message across. You cannot go out and tear up other people's property and loot and burn and steal. But you have to understand where the anger is coming from. You have to at least look at the situation and go, I understand why you're upset and doing what you're doing, even though it is wrong. But it's come to a head because you have a George Floyd that gets killed.
Breonna Taylor.
And then you have
Sandra Bland.
Exactly.
Say
all
their
those
name.
people. George Floyd, and then my brother down in Brunswick County.
Ahmaud Arbery.
Arbery gets killed. 2 months apart from each other?
Yeah.
It's just too much has gone on in a small period of time, and after a while, you just keep slapping us in the face. Something happens and you smooth it over. That's a slap in the face. Or something happens and you dismiss it. That's a slap in the face. After a while, I'm kind of tired of you slapping me in the face, and now I'm going to react. And now you get upset because I'm reacting. Now you get upset because I check you on your behavior. Well, something should have been done 20 years ago. Something should have been done 30 years ago. And maybe we wouldn't be here right now. Maybe you wouldn't have to be forced with defunding of a police department if the police departments hadn't been part of the freaking problem. Maybe we wouldn't have to be worried about changing the name of a sports team if something had been done decades ago. Maybe if decades ago, a group of people had decided, there is a problem, instead of turning on their back, instead of being afraid of the self-reflection that it takes to do something about the problem. Because I understand with the dominant culture what the problem is. You don't like the kneeling. You don't like the conversation because it makes you have to self-reflect. Self-reflection is difficult. It is not easy to look in the mirror and go, I was wrong. I've said wrong things. I've done wrong things. I've been malicious towards people, and I shouldn't have been. I get it, but that's what you have to go through for us to start to get to some real change. You have to be willing to step up and go, yes, there is. You have a large contingent of, I hate the term white people, that's why I say dominant culture, but you have a large percentage of the dominant culture that will not acknowledge the fact that there is a racial problem in this country. Well, we just had a black president. Isn't that enough? No, it's not enough. That's still just scratching the surface. Well, there's no slavery anymore. There's no Jim Crow anymore. But you don't understand. Racism has gotten smart because the way I like to talk about it, you can't be the same racist you used to be back in the 60s, 40s, 50s, or whenever, because just for lack of a better phrase and word, you'll probably get your ass handed to you. But that being the case, racism has evolved. It has gotten smarter. It has gotten a lot more slick, and it went into politics, and it's gone into the police departments. It's gone into phrases and clauses to make laws and policy, and that's how it's being done, in today's world. So, that's why voting is important. That's why, I push the shift of moving our young African American children into positions and careers which will help shape policy and procedure in this country. You have to look where this thing is coming from. Now, from here, we were supposed to be catching up on some back topics, or we want to go right into this rebuttal that everybody's been itching to get to. We still.
You talking about from that last show?
Yeah, from the last show. We had a real big explosion of ideas and concerns on the last show, but we may not be ready for that. We're gonna take a quick commercial break, and we're gonna come back, and we're gonna brush over some past topics real quick. We're gonna come up and get on this real big one. I'm pretty sure the phone lines are definitely gonna blow up. So ATL, we're gonna be right back with you. We're gonna pay some bills.
Let them know what the call-in number is, because I'm pretty sure some of them out there itching.
Okay, real quick. We're gonna get this callback number to you real quick. Callback number, if you want to get with us on the show today, it's going to be 404. No, I'm sorry. 40. That was a fax number. Sorry, I got you. That's gonna be 404-721-4552. If you want to join us on the show, you want to let us know what you think, if you want to just say hello, if you want to give a shout out to somebody, just call us at 404-721-4554 at the ATL Underground. Once again, we're going to do that again too. For you up-and-coming artists out there, you underground artists out there, you want to get your stuff out, you want to get your name known, we're going to do that for you. Send your talent, your craft, whatever it is you do, we're going to get you a shout out on the show at ATL Underground MSE at gmail.com. ATL Underground MSE at gmail.com. We're going to be right back with you. Take a break for now. We'll see you in just a moment. DJ Dee Loki, take us out.
Mix for us, brother. Mix for us.
All right, Atlanta, we're back. And you were listening to a few of our favorite HBCU band tunes. The first one that was Fam back in '88. That was Make It Last Forever by Keith Sweat. Then we had Howard playing Skin I'm In. And we had Howard University playing, what was that Howard tune? We'll get it for you. Then at the end, that was Tuskegee Ball and Parlay. We definitely appreciate the HBCU bands here at ATL Underground. I hope you enjoyed that. At this point, before we get into some of these, before we go back to a couple issues and then come forward, we do have a caller online. Is that right, DJ Dee Loki? We got a caller? All right, we got a caller online. We're going to put them through and see what the caller has to say. And once again, we appreciate y'all listening to us. This is our first show. This is our official launching of the ATL Underground. We've had some test spots we've done. We appreciate you tuning in for those. We definitely appreciate you tuning in for this, our official launch of the ATL Underground. We've got a lot coming at you. We've got plenty of Sundays and Tuesdays and Mondays to sit here and vibe with you. And we love to have your support, so definitely tune in and let us know what's on your mind. Is the caller ready? Go ahead, caller.
Oh, hi. I just wanted to comment on a few things that I heard y'all speak about. It was last week or so when you talked about the fair share. You wanted to make sure that we just get a fair share. And we're not going to ever get a fair share as long as you got people like Mitch McConnell in office. They got to be voted out, okay? And then the only way you're going to get a fair share, too, is when we hurt them in their pocketbook. That's why they're making this. They're saying the economy got to open back up because their pocketbooks are starting to hurt now. And if when you talked about the kneeling, man, if the NFL is full of 70 to 80% is people of color. If they would have stood together when Colin Kaepernick took that knee 4 years ago, the slave master or the warden, wherever that owner had called himself, they wouldn't have been able to do nothing because they couldn't have fired all of them. We got to stick together. We got to stand together because you got to realize it's a culture. That the officers was taught, the people that were taught, it's a culture that has to take time to change because you got to change their mindset.
Yep.
But we got to hold people accountable. We have to hold the officers accountable. We have to hold our elected officials accountable. So, and because like, what's that brother who said that the police officer wasn't going to do any, wasn't going to be brought up on any charges? That's uncalled for. So we got people of our color that we got to hold accountable and don't reelect them and stuff like that. And then y'all were talking, if I'm not mistaken, about the system, like with wages, with the sister and the brothers, But back in the days before y'all were born, because y'all young whippersnappers,
she right.
The black woman had to get out there and work. Because the black man couldn't get a job. The system was against him that he couldn't work. And what would that do? Just destroy his self-esteem. So the black woman had to get out there in order for this family to survive. And now today, both of them got to be out there and work because the economy is just outrageous. The rent is too doggone high. And we got to get together. The man and the woman got to pull their income together. So we can't be fighting amongst ourselves about the brother making more than the sister and the sister making more than the brother. That's like going back in the day when you said the light-skinned sister was better than the dark-skinned sister or vice versa. So we can't fall into that game. And we do that all the time. We fall into the trick of the enemy, and we got to stop that because we have the potential to survive. That's why they brought us here. We came from kings and queens. So I don't want to be preaching and taking over other people's time, but
fine. Keep on going.
Yeah, go ahead, do your thing.
That's it. I'm going to end it there, but I just wanted to get those few things across. Okay.
We appreciate you calling. Thank you very much. Keep tuning in.
Thank you.
We appreciate that.
Hey, she right though.
Yeah, she made a lot of good points. I'm going to go back to
we're whippersnappers.
Yeah.
We are the whippersnappers.
Before we was born, yeah.
We were definitely whippersnappers.
But that brings up a very big point.
Yeah.
The African American family was a community before we were born.
Yeah.
And then we got in this age of enlightenment where more and more of us start getting educated and getting crumbs that we forgot about our family.
We did.
I mean, when you look around, you got one family that's got $1 million house and the other one's living in the projects.
Yeah.
You couldn't have took a $350,000 house and made sure the other ones had a $50,000 house.
If you in the know and you know what you're supposed to know, then for me to say a phrase like integration was a double-edged sword for us, you understand what I'm talking about. The minute that we'll say the glass ceiling was broken as far as where we could live and where we could go, it was a good day and a bad day for the African American community because we were so happy to be able to go out and live in certain areas. We forgot to leave some people back in our neighborhoods that were going to care for our neighborhoods. We forgot to leave the ideology or to leave the dynamic back in our neighborhoods that kept up our neighborhoods because growing up, my parents would take us, my sister and I, around Atlanta, and they would show us this used to look 100 times better than this. We cared about our neighborhoods and our communities and areas, and people kept their yards up. They kept their house looking good, and you didn't come through the neighborhood with foolishness and whatever and whatnot. And integration killed that because we were so happy to be released into areas in the city where we couldn't go before that like I said, we forgot about the neighborhood. But I want to go back because she brought up the NFL kneeling thing. It was a sore spot for me because I butted heads with a few friends of mine because when Colin Kaepernick took his knee, shortly after that, people were saying, boycott the NFL. And I thought about it for a second, and I came to the realization that, and our caller brought up a great point. When you look at an NFL team, any NFL team, the 32 NFL teams out there, when you look at them, you see, as African American, you see yourself. That team is, she says 70%. That team is about 80+% us. When Colin Kaepernick started that protest, when he took that knee, the African American contingency in the NFL pretty much had the NFL owners by the short and curlies. They could dictate. They had the majority. They had the trump card. Because I don't care what you say. If the black players in the NFL had decided, you know what, we won't see you on Sunday. You know what, we won't see you on Monday. Probably won't see you on Thursday until you do right by that man. They would have had no choice but to look into it and to see what they can do to make something happen to that man's satisfaction, or to our satisfaction as African Americans as well. But for whatever reason, they did not come together. You know, I always go to the extreme, and you know, they was more concerned about balling out and tricking off and, you know, buying Porsches and making it rain in the club, and they didn't come together. That's just what I say. That's just my opinion alone. But, you know, they lost focus because they had it. They had total control, but they lost it. So my frame of mind said, you know what? They didn't do what they were supposed to do, so why am I going to throw away my $2,500 I paid for season tickets? Nope. I'll be right there in my seat with my pizza and my nachos and my Coke and my never mind. But enjoying the game like everybody else. Because if you can't do what you're supposed to do and you holding all the cards, what is my little noise going to do? I was very upset with the African-American NFL players at that time because they absolutely dropped the ball. And that's going to tie us into one of our throwback topics real quick. And we want to talk about our fair share in this country and what we're owed. You know, a lot of the problems we get from the dominant culture in this country stem from the fact that a lot of them feel like, you know, we want to reverse things. We want to make them the downtrodden, and we want to put our foot on their necks, and we want to do reverse Jim Crow and reverse separate ego. Let me tell you something, dominant culture. You're not that important to us. We cool with you, we like you, we hang out with you, you know, whatever. But you're not that important, you know, to where we gotta go through what it would take to do that to you. You're not that important. All we want is our fair shake in this country and what we are owed. We still haven't gotten 40 acres and a mule. We still can't get past last hired, first fired. We still can't get past unfair practices in the banking industry. We still can't get past racism by the pen and phrasing clause in politics. So we just want to get our fair share and what we're owed from you, and leave us the frick alone, and let us be prosperous. Let us be successful. Let us get out there and be able to go to banks and get loans and start businesses and things of that nature. We don't want to do anything to you. We want to laugh and joke and hang out and talk to you, and just like anybody else, and just vibe and be good people. Nobody wants to do you any harm whatsoever. I feel you back there, Dr. Funkenstein. What you got back there, Doctor?
Well, just talking about what the caller was talking about when it comes to the NFL, I haven't watched the NFL in 4 years because I'm on strike until they do right by Cap. And I remember my uncle saying, "You gonna punish yourself? You're not gonna watch?" And I'm like, bruh, if I don't stand up for what I believe in, who else will? So they're not gonna get ratings from me. They're not gonna get the restaurants that would make money off of me coming in to watch the games. They're not gonna get that money from me. Now, on a second note, when it comes to reparations, people talk about, well, the government doesn't really have money right now to do that, even though you have billions and billions of dollars to put into the military industrial complex and the prison industrial complex, which is a whole nother conversation that we'll get into later. But I'll give you an example of how we can be paid our reparations. From 2002 through 2006, the city of New York sold 700 buildings for $1 to its residents. This can be done easily, and this can be the reparations that's paid to me and my people. Okay, it doesn't matter if the building is in good condition or if it's in bad condition, because you know what, I can go get Uncle Pookie and Ray Ray, and they'll help me fix that building up. Because all jokes aside, land is where the true wealth is, and if I have 2 acres of land that I was able to buy from the city for $1, and I put an apartment complex there, I built my house, and then I put 2 or 3 duplexes. Now, within 3-4 years, I can erase the wealth gap. But the others, They don't want that.
I hear you, Doc, but I'm going to tell you all day long and twice on Sundays, until the contingency, until the body of the African American players in the NFL stand up and take their power as they should have done the first time, I'm not going to punish myself. If I get an opportunity, I'm going to the Falcons games, I'm going to the Hawks games, whatever, Braves games, if it's applicable for this year and even next year, until the brothers in the league stand up and go, you know what? We're going to, like the caller said, we're going to hit your pocketbooks. Because we could have crippled the NFL 4 years ago when Colin Kaepernick started his protest. We like I said, we had them by the purse strings, but we didn't have the focus. We didn't have the level of maturity that said, we're holding on to cards. Now, please believe, I don't care what people say, the most hardcore, staunchest, white nationalists or racists in this country, you're not going to the game to watch the scrubs play. Guaranteed you're not. You're not going to spend the bus fare, the cab fare, the Uber fare, the cost of gas, or the ticket price to go watch the scrubs play.
True.
I guarantee it wasn't going to happen. And because they didn't do that, I lost respect for the brothers in the NFL just a little bit, around that whole Colin Kaepernick situation. And, like I say, until they stand up, what am I going to do? I'm going to watch
Be
the
the
game.
change you want to see. That's what you do.
Well, that doesn't apply in this situation because I'm not in the NFL. I'm not attached to the NFL. I'm just a fan. And if the people I go watch who's affected by the situation aren't man enough, aren't player enough, aren't African American enough to go, hey, that's wrong, we gonna get you, then my little noise means absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Now, we also got to hit back on. I also want to hit back on one of our throwback topics as far as African American support for Joe Biden. To start this off, I'm torn. I do realize. My main premise is that Trump has to go. The sideshow of the Trump presidency is time out. Pause button, delete button, stop button, eradicate button, whatever the frick button. This man has got to get out of office. It's time to end the sideshow. It's time to end. We need to bring some class back to the White House, some decency, some doggone decorum. We need a president who actually knows our government process. Any president dumb enough to get on television to even plant the seed into the minds of Americans that we need to delay the election process pretty much just in his favor, if you know what you're supposed to know, that is a sign of someone who has no business leading this country. As a president, you're supposed to know what your boundaries are. And for you to say something like that, it shows that you either don't know what's going on or you have no respect for it. Either one of those says you have no business being a daggone president of the United States. Now, we already know he doesn't understand our political process. He's not as knowledgeable about our political process as he should be as a president. But when he comes out and he actually lets some of that crap fall out of his face into a microphone, into some speakers, out of a television, out loud, saying some of these things, injecting bleach. Can we swallow some disinfectant? That'll clear it up in 5 minutes? You gotta be freaking kidding me, man. This idiot said on television, drinking bleach and taking disinfectant. And do you know the daggone CDC's phone lines were blowing up with people calling and going, hey, can we drink some bleach? I think it'll go good with a little bit of my Jack. Can we do that? I mean, are you sick? This man makes people do stupid stuff. And as a president with that kind of power, you've got to know what to say, when to say, how to say. You've got to know when not to say. Because people are going to listen to what you say and act on it. And for him not to regard that, or for him to act like he doesn't understand that, you cannot lead my country. You cannot lead my country. This is the most divisive president we've ever had in the history of this country. Now, for that, everything he says is, in the history of the country. That one actually applies. Everything else he says, in the history of the presidency is some BS. But that one freaking applies. It's troubling because every time he says something, when you fact check it, if you fact check it, you find out that was some absolute BS. To this day, I do not understand what is his end game? What is his goal other than just getting reelected? Low key, what you got on?
That's what I got on.
That was the awkward pause. Yeah. Well, I tell you what. This been the first show. DJ Dee Loki, what you feel about it, man? Tell us what's on the DJ mind. Just come off the ones and twos for a second, and you let us know what you think, man. We're gonna let everybody get a little say today.
Man, to be quite honest, I feel the same way. He just got to freaking go.
Yeah.
Because of all of the idiocy that comes out of his mouth. I mean, just with that alone, that's just one of dozens of examples of how that's really all I can say about it. The fact that, not only did people do that, that not only did he say that, you start hearing news stories about people actually following suit to that, like the situation with the hydroxychloroquine.
Yeah,
that people, like, stories coming out with people dying because they thought, okay,
trying
so
to take that crap.
Yeah, it's like the president says, okay, yeah, we'll go ahead and take it. News story: father dies. But it's still you, and it's funny how so many people I have a lot of friends that say, you should. Are you surprised? Are you surprised? Yes, every single time. I know some people, they expect it because it's Captain Cheeto, Mr. 44, and we should be used to this. But
Mr. Orange Fofo.
Orange Fofo. And
4-5. It's 4-5.
4-5.
Excuse me.
Don't get them confused now.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Don't do up or rock the boat now.
Yeah, my bad. 4-4 is a good one. My bad.
Yeah, my apologies. 4-4 was actually a good number. But the fact that, I feel like that's a problem that we should be used to this. Like, no, that's the reason why I'm so surprised every single time, because of the fact that you would think that with everybody around him, that they would be able to have some type of temerity to even attempt to talk some sense into him. But every single time it just keeps on surprising us.
I don't know if it's possible to talk sense into him. I mean,
I don't think so neither.
For what we know, just from watching the news and news reports, somebody might say something intelligent to him, and it's just so intelligent that it just glances off of his forehead and goes off into the energy of the world, because he can't take intelligent thoughts from other people. I don't know. Maybe you have to get him a Rosetta Stone or something. I don't know. maybe you just kind of have to write it in crayon and go, hey, Mr. President, say that. And break it down Barney style. Maybe he'll get it, and he'll finally start listening, because I'm pretty sure his handlers, his advisors, they talk over his head, or they say things that he doesn't really understand, and because he can't understand it, then he just shoots from the hip, and it comes out BS every time. Watermelon, like the peanuts. Yeah, got to, because I know, Republican or not, I know he's got to have somebody around him who goes, Mr. President, that's not a good idea. Mr. President, you probably want to stop saying that, because ABC 1, 2, 3.
He do, you know what happens? You're fired.
Yeah, I guess so. Anybody that makes too much sense to him, he probably gets rid of him. But Dr. Funkenstein, what you got for us, Doc?
So now, I understand, Captain Cheeto need to go. The Orange Avenger.
We gotta find some new names.
So I got you. Count Oranges needs to go. We get
Count Orangela.
But my question is Joe Biden really the best version? Is he the best representative for us? Like in 2008, he voted no for the codifying the definition of a child eligible for SHIP Act, which would have given low-income children under the age of 19 health insurance. 2007, he didn't even vote for the Farm and Nutrition Act, which would have helped black farmers. The Energy Act, which would have made the auto industry move in a more renewable energy direction, i.e. solar and electricity. The Water Resource Development Act of 2007, which directly would have helped people of color in Louisiana and Mississippi. He believes in dealing with the effect rather than dealing with the cause. And this is something that I vehemently disagree with, because it solves nothing, but it does feed the prison industrial complex. My proof of this, in 1994, in the 1994 crime bill, which is truly the bill he fathered, even though he let Clinton take credit for it, which in my opinion was a genius chess move. That bill is called the Biden-Hatch crime bill. He said we must take back the streets. It doesn't matter whether or not a person is that the person that's accosting your son or daughter was deprived as a youth. It doesn't matter if he had a background that didn't enable him to become socialized into the fabric of society. It doesn't matter or not if they were victims of society. He doesn't want to ask what made them do this. He just wants them taken off the streets. He also states that cadre of young people born out of wedlock, without parent or supervision, without structure, without any conscious forming, because they have not been socialized and have not had opportunity. He further states that we have predators on our streets because of part of society's neglect. But instead of fixing the root of the problem, he wants to lock everyone up, and he thinks that many of us are beyond the pale. Now, like, I believe him because he's had his name on every crime bill since 1976. Now, I yield to the fact that he's better than the Orange Avenger. I got you, but let's not act like he's for the black community, because if he was truly like that, then when he created these mandatory minimums for that crime bill, you wouldn't get more time for an ounce of weed than you get for an ounce of cocaine. My position is, if we want black people to vote for him, then come out and say, hey, he will do whatever in his power to get rid of qualified immunity. Okay, and get those people that disgrace the badge that my grandfather wore with pride off of the force. And then also, he can do different things like I talked about before with land grants, selling land to African American descendants of slaves for $1. That could be our reparation that we was promised. So the black agenda is resources, qualified immunity, getting rid of it, and reparations. So I yield the importance of November's election, because we got two Supreme Court justices seats that are going to come up for availability. And if we get conservatives put in there, we going back to 1927. So I got you, but we need to make sure that we start planning right now, so that way we can break the cycle of voting for the lesser of two evils. So I suggest this plan. Step 1. We must vote in the midterm elections, because these are the elections that have the immediate effect on the streets that you walk on daily. Get people in those seats who truly are representative of us and appreciate and value our voice and our vote. Step 2, we have to create our own political party. The Tea Party took the Panthers model and put a white face on it and took over the Republican Party. They got people in those seats that shared their views, and it got them in the seats of power, and they moved them up. Well, I submit that we do the same. Maybe we call our party the Frederick Douglass Party for 2 Chainz or something like that. We go ahead and get people that share our views and that really value us, and we vote them into seats of power in the Democratic Party and move them up. Step 3, educate ourselves when it comes to finances, land grants, businesses, and taxes. The blueprint on these things can be used to change our lives, and it's already been written. All we simply need to do is go ahead and follow it. And I'll complete it by saying this. Completing these 3 steps will allow us in 2024 to not be forced to choose between the lesser of two evils, but actually have the option of voting for one that's actually going to be here for the people and not for greed.
I hear everything you're saying, Doc, but listen, the creating of our own political party, I'm not necessarily keen on that one. I will say, however, that at no time do we need to suffer through 4 more years of Trump. I understand that Biden is not the best choice. I understand that he may not be the sexiest decision we can make politically right now. But at this point, there are some fifth graders I would rather see president than Donald Trump. I know some winos and some daggone crackheads I'd rather see president. I'd rather make Johnny Manziel president tomorrow than one more day of Donald daggone Trump. If we have to start the revolution from meager means, then so be it with a Joe Biden. Is Joe Biden totally for the African American community? No, he's not. I know that. I'm not naive to that fact. But if I have to pick somebody that's going to uphold my interests more than the other, I have to go with a Joe Biden. Because, like I say, at no time, hear me, at no time do we need to go through 4 more years of Donald Trump. Let's let the revolution start with Joe Biden. Okay, let's elect Joe Biden president. Let's immediately start putting into practice everything else you just said. Let's find politicians who are going to support our ideas, who are going to, I know they can't run all of our agenda, but that can take some of the finer points of what we need and want out of this country and start to put some fruition to them. At this point, let's get things started after we get rid of the sideshow that's in the White House right now. That's just how I feel about it. I don't see us making a statement going into retrograde with another 4 years of Donald Trump. But just like you brought up, we've got 2, count them, 1, 2 Supreme Court justices coming up. Now, what happens if the Republican Party gets their hands on those? We are absolutely screwed. With no Vaseline, no Astroglide, no nothing. Mm-hmm. We are going to get the raw friggin' broomstick if the Republican Party gets 2 justice seats. So we have to vote for Joe Biden because it's the best chess move, the only chess move. It's the only play in the playbook we've got right now to move ourselves forward in any kind of direction. Because a Trump White House for 4 more years, we automatically go into retrograde. We cannot go through another Donald Trump presidency. He has to get out of the White House. I hope. Now, right now, the biggest thing with him is the swing voters. The swing voters are going to play a pivotal part in the election because for some reason, a lot of them are choosing Trump. They don't believe in Joe Biden. He hasn't swayed them. He needs to get some Obama speeches and some Kennedy speeches, and I think the brother needs to do some chopping and screwing. Because right now, swing voters is causing the problem. I really want somebody to enlighten me as to what they see in a Donald Trump. I can tell you what I see in a Joe Biden. I just told you what I see in a Joe Biden. But I want somebody to call in to the show. If you're listening, if you're getting wind of the show and you support Donald Trump, you won't catch any. We're not going to yell at you or fuss at you. I don't have a problem with Trump supporters. I have a problem with Trump. So if you support Trump, that's fine. I'm not mad at you. I'm not going to go off on you, and I'm not going to curse you out. I'm not going to say disparaging things about you because you support Trump. My problem is with him and how he does things. So call into the show and tell us what you think. Why is Trump? Why are you so much on his side? And to put that number back out there again so you can call in and talk to us, because it's important. I want to see things from both sides. So if you support Donald Trump, hit us up here at the show at 404-721-4552. 404-721-4552. All right, so now, keeping on with our agenda today, as far as some throwback things, we also talked about, we talked about Joe Biden, we talked about NFL stuff, we talked about what we're owed and expected from this country. I guess we're gonna have to go ahead and dive into our big debate with relationships and women. But yeah, we're gonna have to take a breath before we get into this.
Hold on, you asked me a question and I didn't respond because I wanted to think about my answer before I got to it.
Go ahead. Hit him.
So when we think about the dynamics of right now, and a lot of people are saying that, well, Biden's not really for black people. Yeah, that may be true, because everybody's for themselves. But do we allow that to allow us to have another 4 years of Donald Trump? Because right now there are no other options. The options are to either vote for Trump, vote for Biden, write yourself in, vote for Kanye, or don't vote at all. But I asked everybody to think about this one important thing. Even though it may not be the best option, what's the most prudent option that won't lead us into an era whereas we still can't eat.
Yep.
Because truth be told, like it or not, people want to say that financially we have been better. But that is not due to the last 4 years. That is due to the 8 years before that, where the economy was already making that turn. Because people keep forgetting of that housing crisis from 2009 to 2012, where your houses were under. And before 2016 hit, your house was valued pretty much back to where it was. That was before 45 got in office. Jobs were already coming back because there were things put into place to make sure you couldn't just take your business offshore anymore for cheaper labor. But in a matter of 3.5 years, all that started to change again. Things started to be deregulated. And people started to lose their jobs again. It wasn't the pandemic that started to make this unemployment rise. It was already happening. Because people started doing the at-will thing again. We're firing people at will. So then insurances started to take away some of your privileges by increasing hospital bills, not paying for certain things. Medicine started to become more expensive. Things were happening way before this pandemic. The issue with this pandemic now is that everybody's now affected.
Yep.
The billionaires can laugh and say, look at the little man, he's struggling, he's fishing out of, he's a fish out of water. Now, we getting hit too now. Now it has become a crisis. Because when the billionaire can make that extra billion, he can only make $999 million. There's a problem. And but then I want people to pay attention to what this pandemic did do. While we all sitting at home on our couches, call ourselves social distancing and sheltering in place, we started to see the country for what it was, an unjust place. Because George Floyd wasn't the first, he wasn't the second, he was the third, he wasn't even the 1000th. He was just the one that broke the straw that broke the camel's back.
Definitely.
Because it has been happening all along. Ahmaud Arbery, we now have an era of social media where everybody has media at their fingertips and everybody think they're genius because of their fingertips. But you start to see the injustice. You saw a modern day lynching.
Pretty much.
And that terrified people.
Yep.
Because it wasn't the fact that it was a black man. It was the fact that people said that could have been me.
Yep.
Or the fact that old white grandparents said that could have been my grandbaby. See, that's what people are not understanding now. Now you have a dynamic where older others are starting to realize that their grandchildren and their great-grandchildren look like us.
Yep.
That they're considered one of us. That when they get pulled over, that cop don't say, oh, you mixed. And let's not be confused. It's not all cops.
Yep.
It's that cop that got something to prove, that wants to prove that he can be the superior. And that cop pulls that young man over and says, I don't care what you did right. You're going down today.
Yep.
Because my prison system needs a couple of more workers.
Yep.
My jailhouse needs to make a little bit more money.
Yep.
That's what's happening right about now. And so people are starting to wake up because it's becoming real. The others now have a whole lot more African American friends and friends of color. So that is becoming real for them. Because now your friend who's been your friend for 20 years, your daughter just married his son. They just had a child which became your grandbaby. Now you have vested interests. So I'm not telling you that the candidate that we're talking about, any candidate is perfect. But I'm saying choose the one that's perfect for you. Not the one that looks right, not the one that sounds right, not the one that even walks around with the most dignified manner, but the person that's right for you, whoever they may be. I'm not going to tell you to vote for because my people, your people, other people fought for that right. And let's not misunderstand one thing now. It wasn't just African Americans fighting for that right. Everybody was fighting for that right. One of the most intelligent men, one of the greatest philosophers, one of the greatest mathematicians or physicians, men of physics that we know of, Albert Einstein. People keep forgetting that one of Albert Einstein's main jobs was as a professor at Lincoln University in Pennsylvania. Yes, he taught at an HBCU.
Yeah.
That man that is revered in the physics network for his theory of relativity, taught at HBCU.
If
that man can do it, he can go ahead and say, I'm going to do what I can to uplift people that don't look like me. Other people can too. But we must do it ourselves first. And that starts with, in November, on election day, hopefully, about 45 gonna go to Congress and try to fight, because he does hold the Senate, even though the Senate looking at him like, nah, bro, we can't do that.
Yeah.
Go out and vote, man. Vote for who you think is gonna best serve your agenda.
All right, ATL, we're going to hit you in just a few seconds. We're going to come right back to you. You're going to take a little station break, pay a few bills, and we're going to get right back in your face on this last, our hottest topic. You already know what it is. Call us. Let us know what you think. We'll be right back. ATL, what's up? What's happening? We're back. We've kind of tried to stretch it out as much as possible, but we have to go ahead and tackle one of our hot topics of the day. This, our inaugural official live broadcast as ATL Underground. About a week ago, ladies and gents, we did have a show topic where we addressed should a woman be placed over a man or dominate.
Let's get it straight. Let's get it straight.
Go ahead,
So
go
we don't mess it up, because we want them to be.
Am I tiptoeing too much?
Yeah. Let's not tiptoe. Let's go ahead and be real. It says, as a black man, what do you think of the black woman being lifted up as the head of the household in the black community, when in other communities it is the man? And do we think this affects the black male vote? And this is in relation to the presidential election. And where that conversation went was to the point of women should be more understanding of the African-American man's plight and not so much against them, because it almost feels like society has pitted the black man against the black woman.
Yeah, because we got way away from the vote part. Today is kind of the rebuttal for that. So devoid of the vote part, now we're just kind of, should sisters reign over brothers in relationships? That's pretty much where we are right now. Now, my stance was this. Any event in a marriage where that man is present and getting the job done, no. And you have to uphold the man's position as head of the household. Now, any event or the situation where he's not up to the task, any event where he's not man enough to handle what it means to be head of the household, then, hey, you got to do what you got to do. But any instance where you have a man present in that household who is capable, then hey, you got to get with the gender roles, and he is the head of that household. And at no point should you be attempting to usurp his role as head of that household under no circumstances. That needs to stay intact at all times. We have to have that. Now, I'm pretty sure the phone lines are going to start blowing up in a minute. I'm pretty sure if you're looking at your computer or radio or phone or whatever you're listening, you're probably giving me the stank eye right now. That's okay. I got big shoulders. Go ahead and holler at me. Mr. Loki, take some of it, for I don't want to make too many people mad.
So, this is the thing. We have to really understand what that means and what it looks like. We've had a lot of men and women of our ethnicity done really wrong by the opposite gender, sex, whatever you want to call it. And that has led to a dynamic of disproportionate disgust among the two genders in the same ethnicity. We do have some ideological families out there that exist, but there has been so much hurt over the last millennia that it has caused a separation in the household. See, after 1960, the household started to be separated so much it became ridiculous. It really started with World War I, when African-American males were being drafted to fight in a war and then not given their benefits or anything if they survived. You had issues where the families weren't even notified of a soldier's death. So this is the true dynamic of the situation. Based upon violence, based upon incarceration, based upon just service, there are not enough African-American men out here for African-American women. And truth be told, I do believe that we as the gender have taken advantage of the situation. However, the flip side of it is when I believe that when some African American women get that African American man who's trying to make it, they don't necessarily appreciate it. And when I say appreciate it, they always looking for more. But you don't necessarily have to have the moon to have the universe. You can just have the universe. And that has destroyed the fabric. Because I can't get a job to save my life because the way I look at my skin tone, you have looked at me like I was the degradation of society. Not realizing, hey, when I struggle, we struggle. Not when I struggle, I struggle. Or when I struggle, you struggle because you can't buy that new Gucci purse. That Dooney and Burke, that Fendi.
We did hit on some points also where, we find that African American women feel like because they make the larger income in a relationship that they should be in charge, they should run things. I am vehemently against that. It doesn't matter in my mind, in the way I think, that, if I were married, my wife could make 2 or 3 times what I make. Doesn't matter. I'm still going to be the head of my household. And we've hit this point, or this dynamic, where it seems like a lot of African American women feel like, no, I run the house now because I make the most money, or no, since the world is changing and a lot of things about the world is changing, why don't we change this? Once again, ain't gonna happen. You married, you have a husband, he's capable. That is the head of your household. Now, nobody's saying that you should be seen and not heard. Nobody's saying you're supposed to be barefoot, pregnant in the kitchen. All these other things, these myths or things people come up with from back in the day. But I am saying there are gender roles to a relationship.
Kaylin, I think somebody been trying to call in.
There are gender roles to a relationship, and we've got to respect those gender roles. Do we have a caller yet?
Yeah, I think so.
I think they're saying we've got a caller.
Yeah, we got callers. All right, but before we get to the callers, go ahead and finish your thought, Eddie.
I'm good. I was finna throw the alley-oop over to Dr. Funkenstein back.
Dr. Funkenstein, what you got?
Let's see what's happening.
Looking for nub in all the wrong place.
Go ahead.
We good? All right. So it's a twofold situation. I believe that, there are some people out there who believe that we are that they're the head of the household, and I think it should be a team effort. I think everybody should be. If you know more about a specific situation, then I can tag you in and you quarterback it, and I'll run the play. Or if I know more about a situation, you tag me and I quarterback it, and then you run the play. It has to be a team effort. If I suffer, you suffer, we suffer. If I win, you win, we win, or else everybody's going to fail.
I got you, and I can agree with that. It shouldn't be a total dominance, but that position is there, and that's the male's position. Okay, I'm probably upsetting a lot of people right now. But anyway, I heard we have a caller, so let's go ahead and put the caller through. Caller, are you there? Can you hear me, caller? Go ahead. Caller, you on the air at ATL Underground. Go ahead, caller. Caller, hold on 1 second.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead,
Yeah,
caller.
y'all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Yes. I wanted to comment on what you said because I agree with what the other speakers.
Caller, go ahead.
Oh, I thought you told me to wait a second.
Nah, go ahead. You're good.
Okay, I just loaded my radio so I could talk. But what the young man has said about it being a team effort, I agree with that. It is a team effort, and I had spoke on that a little earlier about us not falling into that game plan because the black man, the black woman have to work together. And for you to say that there's not enough black man, for the woman, I kind of disagree with that. I know a lot of y'all are locked up and whatnot, but there's enough of y'all to go around, I feel. And it's just a matter of us not falling into that game that of the trick of the enemy, where because I make more money, I should be the dominant figure. If you want to go back to the biblical time and go to the Bible, the man is the head of the household.
Yep.
Okay, so we can work together. We can disguise. We should be together as one. When man and woman are joined together, they are as one. And the man should have that respect of being the head of the household. I'm not taking away from the woman because I'm a dominant woman. I'm a headstrong woman. But I did give my husband the due respect of he was the head of the household. So I just think it's we have to realize and stop fighting each other. And that was pit against us back from 400 years of slavery. We were pit against one another. You had the house slaves against the field slaves. You had the light ones against the dark ones. You had, that was just a game, pitting us against each other, and it was lies that we were brought up on. Because right now, we help each other out. The house slave was the one who told the field slave when master wasn't going to be around so they could escape. The house slave took food to the field slave so they could eat. So we've been brought up on so much lies, and we believe the lies. But I know my man loves me because I'm his African queen, and I love him because he's my African king. And that's what we got to get back into the mindset of black people always loved one another. But we got screwed up somehow. We got brainwashed. We got bamboozled. Go back to our great leader, Malcolm X. We got hoodwinked. So we got to get, we got a mindset that we got to get changed from too and take ourselves out of.
I hear you, Carla.
Amen.
Yeah, we appreciate you calling in, Carla. Thank you for all that. We definitely appreciate.
And I think people need to take that to heart. Like they really need to take that to heart, because the dynamic of being fooled is a dynamic that we always succumb to.
Yeah.
Look at Candace Owens. I mean, I've been just being real. This sister was a power to the people sister. Then one day she flipped and said, she flipped and said the best time for African Americans right after the Civil War and during the construction period. Like, you do realize we were getting lynched and hung at will, right? But, okay. So that is the nature of the beast. Are we truly working together? And what are we working towards? See, I think that is the issue in itself. You have to be with somebody who is going to work towards the same goal as you're going to work towards. And I think people need to sit down and really hash out what that goal is. Because if you have no goals, you're not going anywhere. If you have no type of mark of what that you want to reach, you're not moving anywhere. And I mean realistic goal. I don't mean sit on the couch and say I'm going to be a millionaire tomorrow. Well, how you going to make that million? Yeah. What's your plan? And don't just have a goal without planning. And see, that's what has happened to the family, to the African-American man and woman. It has become this I want it now stage and era, then I want to work for it so I can get it later. If it don't come fast, quick, and easy, then that's too much work. I don't want to do my own work. I want somebody else to do it for me. I don't have the courage to step out there, so I want you to step out there for me, reap the benefits, and when it don't work out, blame you for it. That's what this has become. So, am I mad that the African-American woman's being lifted up? No. But am I mad that some African-American women are using it to step on and demean a man? Yes.
Exactly.
Because your wallet does not make you better.
Nope.
Because if you make $1 million and I make $5, but I'm a better person, people are going to follow me and not you. They're going to contact you for your money. They're going to contact me for my friendship. And that's what people need to understand. If you are the type of person to do something for someone, but to expect something in return, then why are you really doing it? And that's where it comes in relationships or with situations. So if there is a woman, I don't care what your ethnicity is. I don't care what your denomination is. I don't care how tall you are, how short you are. If you are looking for that person to complete you, but you're not willing to complete them, you have a problem. If you are that man and you're looking for that woman to complete you and you're not willing to complete them, then you have a problem. Before you go and search for this significant other, you need to fix your problem first, because they can't fix it for you. And that's when the dynamic comes in. You have a lot of people that are hurt. They have a lot of holes in their souls that they're trying to fill with other things. And that thing is causing a breakdown in our community. You literally have parents now telling people, don't chastise my child, but your child is running out in the middle of the street when nobody watching him, about to get hit. But you didn't want your child chastised. He could have let your child die, or she could have let your child die. But you want to get mad at them. Or you want to get mad at that teacher for telling you your child not doing what they're supposed to do. You want to blame the teacher. Instead, you say, hey, my child is not doing what they're supposed to do in class. My child didn't even bring the letter home. My child didn't even do the work, or even tell me they need help with work. If you're that parent that can't help your child with their work, find somebody else to help that child. Don't leave that child unstuck. Teachers, if you got a child who parent can't never show up at parent conference, find out what's going on with their family. Because maybe that mom working 3, 4, 5 jobs to make sure that child can eat. So instead of pointing that finger and being the problem, how about you be the solution? Call that mom and let that mom know what's going on, so that mom can know, hey, this is what I need to work on with Lil Johnny. But to bring it back full circle, you got too many single parent households. You got daddies trying to raise daughters and mamas trying to raise sons. And I'm here to tell you, the world, that a woman can raise a man to be a good man, but she can't show him how to be a man. A man can raise a woman to be a good woman, but he can't show her how to be a woman. Because guess what? He has no experience in that field. He cannot show her how to do certain things. He can't show her how to walk, because he walk like a dude. She walking like him, there might be a problem.
I like the biblical aspect of it. Carla brought up. I like the aspect of it where you need to understand each other's positions in a relationship and respect those positions. You have a man in the house, you have a woman in the house. Man is expected to provide and protect. The woman is expected to be the lady of the house, the nurturer. She's expected to maintain the household. So when you start bleeding those lines, now just think about it like this: any married couple out there right now who's listening, when something happens at that house, ladies, and you go crying and whining about it to whoever, or talking about it, whoever you talk to about it, the first thing that person asks you is like, well, what did he do? What is he doing about the problem? There's a reason for that. Because provide, protect means, I'm responsible for the good and the bad that befalls this household. If it's broken, I gotta fix it. If it's something that falls apart, I gotta put it back together. If the roof needs to be replaced, nobody's expecting the wife to go replace the roof. The dude is supposed to make that happen, whether he gets up there and replaces it himself, or whether he sets forth on the resources to get the roof fixed.
But now it happens, and they'd be like, well, I can't change the roof. He said, you know how to change it? No, exactly. So I couldn't do it.
Exactly. Or you had to get your behind up on that ladder and look down and start freaking out. Then you see why you weren't supposed to be up on that ladder.
Now, wasn't supposed to get help. Because we ain't going to say what people supposed to do.
Okay. Well, I'll let you have that one. But that, in my mind, the way I say it, there's
politically correct.
There's we being PC. All right.
We're not.
There are reasons why, there are gender roles. There are reasons why, men are expected to do ABCs and 1, 2, 3s in a relationship, and the wife is expected to do her ABCs and 1, 2, 3s. There's a reason why those are separate things. And when you're a man in a relationship, this is what you're supposed to do. This is how you're supposed to act. This is what you're supposed to do to say that you're handling your business. And there's a reason why those lines shouldn't be blurred. You don't cross over those lines if you can help it. Now, I'm not naive to the fact that in some households, either there is not a capable man present, or there may be a man present who's not capable. There also may be a man present who has suffered some kind of injuries or health issues that keep him from being that traditional male in a household, in a relationship. I get all that. But my bottom line is any event in a relationship where there is a man in that household and is capable of running that household, let that man do his due diligence, do his job. Worst thing in the world is watching a couple ebb and flow or go along and toes are being stepped on to that effect. I've seen it many times. It's uncomfortable. It creates a lot of tension and friction. Let the man be the man if he's there and can tack that on. Doc, I'm gonna toss it over to you. What you got?
I think it's like I can agree. I can agree with you on that. Everybody has gender roles, and I just think, like you said, like I said earlier, it's really just a team effort. It has to be a team, because if I don't have your best interests at heart, if I'm not pushing you to win, then we as a relationship, our family is going to suffer, and that's, to me, that was the destruction of the black family, which is also the power base of our community, which also leads into why we are in the state that we're in now.
This, I think, is the issue. And let's be real about this situation right now. In 2020, you have same-sex marriages. You have gender lines have been blurred.
Problem.
You had a situation where there was a young man who decided to go through transition. No, seriously, and wrestle in the women's division at a state championship. Now, that's still a boy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, all day, every day, there are some young ladies out there that wrestle the brakes and beat the brakes off some dude. But that's not everybody. And if you're going through transition and you're taking hormones, whether you a female taking male hormones to transition a wrestling women's division, or a male taking female hormones, that's an unfair advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Because somebody can get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, if you're going through your transition, like, you got man strength.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be real about this.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of errors that's happening right now, where you have the Me Too era and things of that nature that's occurring there, and that is about, sexual assault. But that's also being used in some negative ways nowadays. That's hurting people. And so it's one of the things where it's a lot of these things that are occurring, right, wrong, and indifferent, are blurring those lines. I'm sorry, there should not be a 4-year-old coming into a pre-K classroom talking about he a boy in a girl's body. It shouldn't happen. Because what does a 4-year-old know about that?
Nothing.
What are they privy to even understand that?
Nothing.
You
They
can't
shouldn't
say
be.
your colors, but you know that?
They shouldn't be privy to stuff.
So that's my ploy is, parents, protect your children. Please protect your children in all facets of life. But now, when they become a teenager to adult, yes, then they can make that decision. When they become that adult and want to go through the things, then they can make a decision. But I think when you're elementary school, middle school, you're kind of too young to be trying to make a major decision like that you may regret in the next stage of life.
Mm-hmm.
I wanna hear from some ladies out there. I want some ladies to call in and tell us what you think about it. We had a lot of people that called us at the end of the test show last week on this topic, and we had a lot of opinions and a lot of ooh, I can't wait. So ladies, call in and tell us what you think.
They might be gun shy.
No,
It's different saying it and then coming out with it now.
Come on and dial that number.
Some people it's not good. Public speakers.
Matter of fact, here it is.
I'm bumping.
Here it is. I got it for you, ladies. Call us here for the show at 404-721-4552. 404-721-4552. Ladies, I want to hear from you. Let us know what you think about this topic. Should you be dominant or reigning over a man in your relationship? African American women, do you think... Women, period. Do you think that's a proper way things should go? Should you have to be concerned with... All you have to be concerned with being a wife, being a mother, or just being a wife, And then you got to be head of the household too. Is that something that you want to have to tackle and touch on? We're gonna take a quick one and come right back. We're gonna wrap this one up. Call in and talk to us. We'll be right back. Welcome back, Atlanta. Welcome back, ATL Underground. We are touching our hot topic for today, getting ready to wrap this thing up on gender roles and relationships and women elevating themselves, African American women elevating themselves over the brothers in relationships. How do you feel about it? I understand we do have a caller. We're going to pass the caller through. Just a few seconds here. Caller, can you hear me? Caller, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead, caller.
So I was calling in to make a comment of, I guess not necessarily to answer your question. Well, I don't know. A comment about your statement about do black women want to be in charge. I think that can you repeat what you said? Because I want to make sure that my comment is appropriate for what you said.
Hold on, caller, 1 second. Are you not on speakerphone, are you? Because we can just barely hear you.
Better.
Hold on. You're going in and out. Make sure you're not on your speakerphone, and make sure you have your whatever you listen to us on. Make sure
I'm not on speaker. I took it off speaker.
Okay, there we go. We can hear you now. We got you. Go ahead.
I can barely hear you guys, but go ahead.
No, you got it. Go ahead.
No, she wanted us to repeat. Well, the question is, do you all want to be the head of the household? Based upon the premise and the subject of, at this juncture, the African American woman is being uplifted in the households ahead of the African American man, which is causing a distraught dynamic in the household and breaking apart families, based upon whether it be finances, prestige, things of that nature. So we want the women's perspective on, do you all want to be uplifted over the African American man, or the man?
Should be.
Or you should be, based upon those premises.
Okay, so now I may be a little older than some of your listeners. I'm late 40s. And no, I do not want to be the head of my household. I also understand, though, that in the African American community that roles are fluid, that there are times when the woman is the head, the man is the head, the child may even at some point in life may step up to be the head. If you have an extended family living in your household, the grandmother may be the head, the grandfather may be the head, an aunt or uncle may be the head. It just depends on the situation. But what I do understand is that there are times, and I believe that one of you all touched on it in your comment, where the person that is the head may not be able to lead at that moment in time, and it may be the woman's responsibility as a member of the household and the marriage to step up and to do what she needs to do for the family until he can resume his role. But there are also times where that man may also need to step into the woman's role when she steps into the man's role to resume that. And to me, that's where the conflict starts. Because if we're stepping up to help you when you can't, then we expect for you to step up and help us when we can't. But there are countless studies on that the roles in the African American household are fluid. We messed up when we started trying to assimilate into dominant society roles, because that's not inherently who we are. But in African American families, they are fluid. So I guess the answer to your question for me is no. I don't necessarily want to be the head of the household, but when I'm right about for my man, I'll do what I have to do if he can't. But I expect him to do the same for me.
All right, we got you.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about right there. Ride or die. That's what I'm talking about.
We appreciate that. Thank you for calling in, caller. We appreciate that.
Absolutely.
All right. Keep listening. Keep tuning in. Keep
what she
listening
said
to
was
us.
important.
Yeah.
The roles are fluid.
Yeah.
And that is a very important thing that we have forgotten about. Because truth be told, as a male man father, you're taught at a young age to be able to take care of yourself, which means that you're able to cook and clean and all that kind of stuff. We're taught that.
Yeah.
But in the others, I don't think they necessarily taught that, because they expect to come home and dinner to be ready. But in ours, I'm just being real.
Yeah, I got you.
And so I think what she said was important when she said we try to entrench ourselves in dominant culture society. which messes up the dynamic of our household, which it does, because that's never what we believed in. We didn't believe in barefoot and pregnant. That wasn't our thing.
Yeah.
But it started to be entrenched in our household because we started to see it elsewhere. And where do we see it at? In Master's house.
True.
But
I guess it-
there is a messed up part of that about Master's house. Master's wife only did things when she wanted to. And when she got mad, who did it? The slave.
Yeah.
So, and let's understand, when Master got mad at his wife, who did he go to? The slave.
Slave, yeah.
So we started to indoctrinate things that wasn't even working for them.
I hear that.
And it messed up our dynamic of our household. Because think about it. A parent used to be able to come to the school and beat the brakes off their child when they messing up. Now they are called DFACS, Department of Family and Children's Services.
Yeah.
So now you just took their parents right out of themselves to chastise their child.
Yeah.
So now what happens to that child? That child grows up to be a holy terror because somebody else decided they was going to do that because their child come home now and parent be like, I'm going to spank you. They be like, not before I call DFACS.
I get you. Also, I think that there comes a slight problem when you have to, in the fluidity of those roles, when it's time to go back, then somebody doesn't want to relinquish the fact that they had to be the head for a minute. They want to keep it. Okay, you had to bump for me. You had to ride or die for me. Okay, when I'm back up on my feet and I'm ready, to take the reins again. Okay, you gotta let me get the straps back so I can drive this carriage. We got another caller coming up. All right, looks like we got another caller. Uh-oh, I think the waves are buzzing. We may have to do another hour of show, y'all.
All right.
Yeah, you wouldn't believe the look I just got from that one. But okay, let's. We're gonna wrap this up after a while unless we get more callers. But we got another caller coming through. Caller, can you hear me? Are we ready? Oh, hold on 1 second. All right, caller, I think you are patched in and ready to talk. Caller, go ahead.
So to answer the question, do black women want or should be head of household?
Uh-huh.
I can only speak from personal experience.
Go
So
ahead.
I would say that as a black woman, I do not want to be head of household. Based on my faith, I believe that my husband should be the leader of our household, and we are partners in the work. However, if my husband, for whatever reason, cannot lead, then that's a conversation we would have to have. And then, especially if we have a family, then I am ready to do what I need to do to ensure that our family is successful.
Okay, I get that. Now, what happens at the point of time when, whatever the trouble is, it's subsided or it's gone away and he's ready to, take the reins back? Are you willing and ready to give back that control? Or is it kind of like, wait a minute, I've been running things. Why don't you just let me continue to run things? How does that work?
I couldn't hear the last part of your question. I heard you say, are you willing to give back control?
Yeah, when whatever happened, whatever the situation, whatever the trouble was, when that is done and it's gone away, how willing and ready are you, or quick are you to just return him to his position of being the head of the household? Is that a quick give back, or how do you see that?
I think I would be lying if I didn't say that it would be a transition. But definitely when he's ready to take back control, especially since he's had that control in the beginning, but there was something that happened that may have caused him to need to take a break from that or pursue some other things at the time, then definitely would be willing to go ahead and give him that control back, because that is his place in the family, especially if we have committed to, through our conversations prior to marriage, having a household where the husband leads and the rest of the family is following his lead.
Okay, I hear you. I definitely appreciate that, caller. I appreciate you calling in and joining us today. Definitely keep tuning in. We look forward to you guys calling in and expressing your opinions.
I got a question, caller, before you leave.
Caller, before you leave, hold on.
Who decides whether he's ready to come back and take the throne back? Do you decide that, or does he decide that?
I think he decides that, because hopefully we would have had a conversation whenever he decided that he needed to take a break from that, to say about how long that break would take, what he anticipates during that time, and then how we'll transition back into, or he'll transition back into his role.
Okay, let me ask this real quick, because you said based on your experience. So, are you currently married right now, or are you there?
Say that again?
Yeah, you was talking to us earlier. You said based upon your experience. So my question is, are you married right now, or it's just, have you been through some situations that you've had to deal with this?
Hello?
Can you hear me, caller?
Whoever's speaking is far away from the phone. That's what it sounds like. So I can't really
Can you hear me now?
He said, Ed D said, based upon your experience. So he's asking, are you currently married, or is this a situation that you've been through that brought you to this conclusion?
I heard you say, are you currently married, or is this a situation? And then I can't hear you.
Is this a situation that you actually went through that caused you to have this train of thought?
No, I'm not currently married, and I have not previously been in a situation similar to this. I think most of our beliefs come from a few different places.
Gotcha.
One, from how we saw our parents interact. And then two, of course, our previous experiences. But not being married before, I don't have that previous experience. So what I go based off of is what I saw my parents do, but also what I hope for my family. And so growing up in a household where my parents were married and my father was the spiritual, financial leader of our family, that's what I desire for my husband.
Gotcha.
However, I also recognize that as a wife and mother, there were times when my mother, I guess, a partner in the work. And so I don't necessarily want my husband to feel like, oh, I'm taking charge of the house and this is it, and this is final. But I think there should be a partnership in which both people are working towards the ultimate goal of that family. So whatever that family's goals are financially, spiritually, in regard to the education of their children, all those aspects of their marriage and hopes and dreams for their family, I think as a partnership, they should come together in those. But ultimately, the husband should be getting his guidance for the family from his faith or, experiences that he's had, so that he can lead the family to success.
Definitely. I appreciate that. That was cool. I appreciate that, caller. Thank you for calling in and joining us
Thank you.
today.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You have a good evening.
That was a very good. I think there was a very good instance in that we missed. She said what she saw growing up.
Doesn't mean she has some good examples.
From her household, her mother and her father.
And
I
father.
think, and I truly believe that's what the issue is. People that have not grown up seeing that's from a single parent household, you do not know what the other side looks like.
Yeah.
You do not know what the other side is supposed to behave like. Yeah, you go visit Auntie Ann and Aunt Arnold, or your Uncle Tom. Well, no, I ain't gonna say Uncle Tom.
Yeah, we ain't going to see no Uncle Tom.
Well, you know what? Uncle Fester and Aunt Eloise.
Oh wow.
But let's go back to Uncle Tom for a second, because people get that misconstrued. Because Uncle Tom was a hero, but for some reason people have come out there and use his name in a very negative term. Because Uncle Tom was a father and a family man who was a father to his children. Uncle Tom died protecting slaves. He was beat to his death for protecting two slaves, a mother and a daughter, from the master who was trying to rape his daughter. But we use Uncle Tom in a very negative term because Uncle Tom would do chores or do errands for the master and come back to his family.
I think we might be diving on another topic.
No, we ain't diving.
But no, the main thing is there is a situation where you have people that don't know what that looks like, or you have people that don't know what that looks like.
That's my point.
So they get a syntax error.
See, that's my point.
When they get into relationships.
Uncle Tom was a father. He was
I
an
get
example of a father protecting his children, his family.
I got you.
He was also the head of the household. And so the issue comes in where we take, and this is the point I'm getting to. We took that and miscrewed it. It became a misconception. And right now in our households, we have a lot of misconceptions. Like we're talking about the head of the household, but what exactly is that?
Okay.
We're talking about gender roles, but what exactly is that?
We got another caller, DJ Neela. All right. DJ Neela says we got another caller. Let's go ahead and get them patched in. Oh, now y'all buzzing now. Oh boy, we got some conversation going on in here today. Oh, we done struck a nerve, low key. All right, caller, go ahead, talk to me. ATL Underground, go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Actually, the previous host just kind of knocked in on what I was thinking. I like that one of the callers said that the roles are very fluid, but I think in the African American community we have a major issue because I think it was Mr. Loki said that women are raising men and women are raising women, or dad is trying to raise women. So we don't truly understand what our roles are. And I think that we have so many women that have been raised in single households that they have been taught to be very strong and very independent. So when they talk to the males that come into their life, they may have been in situations where they saw men coming in and out of their mother's life, auntie's life, or whoever, and they lost the trust for them. So when they bring men into their lives, they're like, okay, I still have to be this strong black woman. I still got to do what I need to do. Whatever happens, I got to take care of me. And I think some of it, you guys had mentioned something about demeaning men as women talk. I don't think it's always an issue of being demeaning. I think sometimes it's about pushing. But I think not being able to communicate your pushing or you're trying to help somebody get to their goals may be perceived as demeaning. And I also know y'all mentioned something about setting goals as a couple. Well, goals change. Just like anybody in a relationship, relationships change. So it's a matter of keeping strong communications and being able to do what's best for each other and for your home.
Well, Eddie,
We appreciate you calling in,
goals.
caller.
Wait. Well,
Hold on, caller. Don't go yet.
so when you talk about goals changing, are you talking about your long-term or your short-term goals? Because your long-term goal should be
really change.
it shouldn't really change. Now your short-term goals may change to get to that long-term goal.
Because of
But
what comes up.
who's changing those goals? Is the couple changing the goal?
I think life changes your goals. I think some people have in their brain, I want to be a teacher, but that's not what happens later on in your life. That might have been the long-term goal for a while. But things happen, situations happen that change what your long-term is.
But that's
and
an
of course,
individual
your
goal,
short-term goals
right?
are going to change.
Right, what you said, that's an individual goal. But as a goal as a couple, you have long-term goals and you have short-term goals. My question is, who changed that goal? Is that a couple decision or is one person changing that goal? Because if it's one person changing that goal, then the goal hasn't changed, that person has changed. So my question...
Do you not believe that people change in relationships?
Everybody changes because we grow and we evolve. But are you growing and evolving as an individual and a couple? Or are you growing and evolving as an individual and you're in and you are a couple? I think there's two different dynamics. So
I would assume the hope is that you would evolve as a couple, but I think people evolve as individuals, and sometimes, you have people go into divorce, you have relationships ending at a drop of a dime, and I think that may be because the individuals are changing, but they're not changing at the same time, or they're not changing for the same thing. But again, like I said, part of that is going to be communicating, because you might have the woman that's in the relationship and she's changing, but she's not effectively communicating with her partner what's going on so that they can look at their goals together, or it could be vice versa.
Got you. Understood. So on the subject of head of the household, then do you believe that the woman should be the head of the household?
You know what? Honestly, and I'm sure this is going to cause a lot of controversy. I'm not even sure there has to be a head of the household. I think if you are in the house and you are equals, as you should be, at least in my opinion, then at any moment in time, if you want to say there's a head, they can switch. Like you should be running like a well-oiled machine, and it shouldn't necessarily be anyone that's held higher than the other one.
Are you suggesting equality in relationships as it pertains to men and women?
Say what? Say it again. I heard equality, and that's all I heard.
Did you say that there should be? Are you saying that there should be equality in relationships as far as it pertains to the husband and wife? They're on an equal playing field.
Why not? They're in a relationship together. They expected to grow together. Why not?
Pure fantasy.
So I think what Ed D is trying to say,
it's
if there is it's possible, but if there is a burglar in the house, are you sending yourself out or are you sending him out?
Well, you know, for some people.
It's not equal.
Well, I'm probably not going to send myself
you're
out,
not finna go get
but
the gun.
I'm smart enough to be able to protect myself if I need to.
So, but my question was, are you sending him out or are you sending yourself out?
I guess whoever moves. I guess in real.
Just go ahead and say you sending him out.
I guess, and you know, it all depends on women's personality because you have to think. You know, I know one of you guys were ex-military. There's some strong-minded military women that would be like, I got it, I'm gone. You know, or just not even necessarily military, but women, period.
I ain't never seen too many jump in front of a bomb. But, you know, not in the movies, though.
All right, well, Carla, we're going to agree to disagree with you on that one.
Well, I'm going to say this.
Okay, that's perfectly fine.
No,
but
I'm going to say
I said, I just believe there should be some equality across the line.
And you know what? And that's what the name of the game in 2020 is equality. But I think people get equality mixed up with roles.
Yeah.
See, there is a way to have equality, but the roles are going to be different. Nobody, I think, I'm correct me if I'm wrong. I think what you said in the household, people should be equal, but the roles will be different. Because everybody's not going to have the same role. Just like in a building, in a police force, in the military, in a school, everybody doesn't have the same role. Everybody should be equal, but everybody doesn't have the same role. As an individual, as a person, you are equal to the next person. Nobody is greater than the other, but the roles are not the same. So I think that's what we need to clarify when it comes to equality. Does equality mean the same?
And it's not the same.
Well, I mean, I would say that there are, I guess if you want to call it roles, but I kind of think either sex, like the previous caller said, could follow the flow without a problem.
Okay. Yeah, because roles are fluid. They are fluid. I think that it comes to a point to where when we're talking about roles, there is a sense of biases that comes into every play for everybody. Because when we're looking at equality, you're saying that you can do everything that somebody else can do, but that's not necessarily true. I can't do everything that Ed D can do because Ed D has different experiences than I do.
Yeah.
So as hosts, we're equal, but our roles are different. We see things differently.
Yeah.
And I think that's what needs to be defined
in
relationships and the community. What it is that you're defining as equality. What are the roles? And I think when those roles get blurred, that's where you have contradiction. That's when you have people start to infight within the home. Carla, we thank you. Appreciate it. That was very good knowledge. That was a good dialogue. We appreciate that because that's the dialogue we need.
You're quite welcome.
Appreciate you, Carla, for calling
Y'all
in.
have a good evening.
Keep tuning in to us and get ready for another show coming to you on next Sunday.
Okay.
All right. We'll see you. Have a good evening. All right, Atlanta. We're going to wrap this up. But we are going to tell you, please check us out on Facebook, ATL Underground. Join us on the Facebook page. Like the Facebook page. We're going to send invites out to you that we can. We want you to get on the page and like it. Please give us your dialogue. Let us know how you like the show. Let us know. Give us any suggestions you have. We love show topic ideas. We're going to put the phone number on the show, the email on the show. Once again, to all you underground artists out there, your singers, your rappers, your spoken word people, if you've got a talent, if you've got a craft, whatever it is you do that you call your talent, get it to us here at the ATL Underground, and we're going to do our best to get you some shout out and some publicity. You can call in at the show to talk to us when we're going live at 404-721-4552. That's 404-721-4552. And please send us your talent to ATL Underground MSE at gmail.com. ATL Underground MSE at gmail.com. We're gonna do our best to get you some support on the show. We appreciate y'all joining us today. This is a longer show for us, and we're gonna keep doing it, keep rocking and rolling. This
You
is
gotta
our
give
first.
people what they want. Gotta give what they want.
We got to exactly what he said, give you what you want. But things are going to get a lot more hot. We're going to get some more hot topics out there. We're going to get some more. We're going to have some in-studio guests as we go along. But definitely tune in. Definitely support us. We appreciate you on this, our inaugural show, our official launch of ATL Underground. Check us out on Instagram. Check us out on Twitter and Facebook. Please talk to us. We'd definitely like to hear your feedback. And we will see you again on next Sunday. We got a time for that? You want to TVA that?
Next Sunday at 5 p.m.
Next Sunday, 5 p.m. We'll be
Real
back
talk
at you
with
again.
Ed, D, and Loki.
We're going to run up your spine and dive deep off into your mind. Doctor, tell them bye.
Peace and love, blessings.
All right. ATL, y'all have a good evening.